Good morning, gang. Happy Friday morning. Okay, it's time for this storm to really start hitting more areas. I mean, it came through Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas overnight. Now it's going to start hitting, Louisiana, Tennessee, Mississippi, Georgia, the Carolinas later today, et cetera, right? Next week, today's Friday. Next week, we are supposed to have a deep freeze come into the U.S., coming in through North Dakota, down through, Iowa, Illinois, and again hit the southeast. Up north is supposed to get snow. Again, places that you'd expect it, Minnesota, Illinois, Michigan, yada. But it brings up something that I want to talk about real quick, and that's being prepared, staying safe in these cold weather months, okay? Now, those of you guys that live in Minnesota or Michigan or Buffalo or something like that, you guys know most of this, but there's a lot of people that don't. Now, you all know me. Obviously, I don't have a southern accent, and I live in Tennessee, okay? I grew up north, and so I'm used to, out of practice, but used to this cold weather and snow and stuff like that. So what I kind of wanted to do is give you 10 good tips to stay safe in these cold temperatures. And I don't know, maybe 3 of them are useful. Maybe 7 of them you already know. But if there's one that you didn't pay attention to, that you learned something, my job is done. So let's start with this one. When you go outside, layer your winter clothing, depending on how long you're going to be out, okay? I mean, if you're just running into the grocery store or walking from the parking lot to the office, that's one thing. But if you're going to be out shoveling snow or pick something, clearing off the front porch as a minimum, layering your winter clothing. You want to make sure that the layer closest to your body is something that will wick moisture away from you, okay? You want to make sure a center layer is something that's going to keep you warm, and you want to make sure an outer layer is going to be something that's waterproof, all right? So whether we're talking ski jacket, something that's like nylon type, or wool is good. Do not go out in this, if you're going to be outside anytime, with one of those pretty cotton pea coats or something, ladies. You want to have something that will wick moisture. Keep it off of you, all right? First layer to keep you dry, next one to keep you warm, third one to keep you from getting wet. Cotton obviously is going to be very absorbent, and whether or not it's snowing or raining or sleeting or the wind is blowing the snow around, you want to keep dry. Number 2, wearing the wrong shoes. Ladies, you're more familiar with this than guys are, okay? Guys are notorious for going to work and wearing their work shoes through the parking lot. The slush, the salt, whatever will destroy good shoes. I don't care if they're leather dress shoes. I don't care if they're tennis shoes. Take some boots with you. Change the boots in the office, wherever you go. Keep your feet warm. Again, it's one of these things, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't want to be out in high heels or in loafers, and all of a sudden your car gets stuck on the side of the road and there's 3 inches of snow out there and you're walking around in heels or in loafers or something. Your feet in leather will freeze very quickly, all right? Have some insulated shoes. You should be wearing those anytime it's sloppy outside. Number 3, big failure, not protecting your eyes. Yeah, this is a big one, and people don't think about it. You're out walking in the wind. Wind will dry out your eyes very quickly. Stuff blows around in the wind. Snow. Gee, should we tell you about the chemical snow we've had lately? Even if it's not snowing outside, the wind will blow it around. If you're out shoveling snow, put some goggles on. If you're driving, well, gee, I'm in the car. It's not a big deal. I'm not going to have anything blow into my eyes. The glare off of snow is blinding. You've all driven, I don't know, in the morning heading east, and you've got that low sun that's blinding to you. Driving west, same thing. The sun will do the same thing. Have some sunglasses on when you're driving, even if it's cloudy outside. Obviously, if it's dark, you don't have to worry about it, okay? You're not going to have any sun glare. But protecting your eyes, not only from damage to them, but so you can see where you're going, because the excuse to your insurance company of, oh, the sun blinded me, that's why I caused an accident, doesn't get you off the hook. Number 4, we're going to probably have to do a lot of this, and down south, it's not something we're used to. Shoveling your snow without warming up first, and I mean warming up your body. It's an exercise. Shoveling snow is one hell of a cardio exercise, I will tell you that. Make sure you stretch, stretch your arms, stretch your legs, stretch your back. You're going to be bending over, you're going to be lifting. This is like going to the gym. You're not going to hear anybody that works out that says, I don't stretch before working out. Shoveling snow is one hell of a workout, and the last thing you want to do is all of a sudden stiffen up or potentially collapse while you're out there. And gee, the spouse didn't know. You figured you'd be outside for a half an hour. Half an hour later, they come out and find you laying in the driveway. Okay? Stretch first. It's very important to warm up, limber your muscles, warm up your body. When you're out there, this is number 5, do not ignore the early signs of frostbite. If your fingers or your toes or your face starts to get numb, and yes, I know not everybody's out there with a ski mask on. Please don't be one of those guys that just thinks, hey, I can go out there in a flannel shirt and that's it. Gee, it's 22 degrees. I don't care. It's not that cold. It's cold. You just don't know it. If you start feeling a little numb in your face, your fingers, your toes, if your fingers start to look gray or your face starts to look gray, not that you can really see your face, that's early signs of frostbite, okay? Get in, get warmed up. This kind of goes back to number 1 of layering winter clothing. Sure, it doesn't look all that attractive wearing a ski mask. You're not robbing a bank, but the idea is not to do permanent damage to your body or potentially kill yourself. Number 6, this is one that you're going to get to that people say to do. It's, the old school thing. Sleep with your socks on. Don't do this, okay? I mean, if you've got some very loose fitting, those old, I don't want to call them granny style socks, but the kind of knitted socks that are very loose, you want to wear those, that's one thing. But putting on a pair of tube socks or something that's going to keep my feet warm, no. What you're doing is you're restricting the circulation to your toes, and if it's cold, you could wind up having serious problems to the point of maybe having to have a toe amputated if your feet are cold. Wrap your feet loosely in something if you have to. A towel or something is fine, but nothing that is going to be constricting on your feet. Number 7, this of course should go without saying, but stay hydrated. Sure, everybody loves their hot chocolate or their tea or their coffee or something, hot toddies, whatever you want, when you come inside after being outside and cold. Not saying don't do that to warm yourself up, but just like in the summer, make sure you are drinking enough water, okay? Dehydration is a huge problem in the winter. People will wind up getting sick, they will collapse, they will get cramps, again, while you're shoveling snow, a lot of work, okay? Make sure you are drinking water. It can be warm. Just drink water, okay? Caffeine is not a good means of hydrating, so the coffee, the tea, God knows, don't go out shoveling snow and have a couple of beers while you're doing it. That's even worse, okay? Driving. Do you know what black ice is? Up north, yes, I know you do. Down south, it's ice basically you cannot see. Do not underestimate the fact that there could be black ice under the snow. You see the snow blowing, the road looks clear, etc., and all of a sudden, boom, the back end comes out of the car. What did you do? You hit black ice. Be careful. If the temperatures are below freezing and it's been wet out there, you could have a very thin layer of black ice that isn't being seen. Drive carefully. Big time. This is the time where, the old days when we had rear-wheel drive car and your rear right wheel was the only one propelling the car, it was a bigger deal. Now we have all-wheel drive or both wheels in the back. It gives you a little bit more traction. But I can remember one time, this goes back years ago, driving from Fort Wayne to Chicago one Christmas and hitting black ice, and I was going slow. And I slid for a good quarter of a mile because you can't do anything. Just be aware of it, be ready. Number 9, this is one I tell everybody, and hopefully they listen to me. Have a jar of isopropyl alcohol in your car. The stuff that we bought during COVID, to sanitize your hands or whatever. Everybody says, why? Here's your answer. First off, isopropyl alcohol doesn't freeze. Probably does at some ridiculously low temperature, but we're not going to get that far. Windshield wiper solvent does freeze. How many of you guys have ever got out in the morning, tried to turn on your windshield wipers, and the wipers don't move because they're froze to the windshield, or you try to use your spritzers and nothing comes out? Okay. Yes, that happens. Now, you're driving around, they're going to salt the roads. You know very well that white salt on your windshield is next to impossible to see out of. And getting out and trying to grab some snow or whatever you are and trying to wash your window is not a good idea. If you've got some isopropyl alcohol in there, spray your windshield down a little bit. You can run a rag over it. If you've driven long enough by now, your windshield wipers should be unfrozen, but the wiper fluid's still toast. You'll be able to clear it. The alcohol will also put a very light film of alcohol on the window, which will keep it from freezing or getting dirty. Keep yourself going at least for a little bit. But it is a good portable thing to have that you can have in the car that you can clean a window. The road gets really bad, you pull off to the side, 10 seconds, spray it on, turn on the windshield wipers, and you're back running again. You're not trying to do one of these looking through this little hole in the windshield. It's great at clearing ice and frost and stuff like that off the windshield in the morning too, rather than doing what most people are doing and looking through these strips of ice that are on there from where they try to scrape the window off. Number 10, this one's to save you a couple of bucks. Most of us have digital thermometers or thermostats in the house at this point, especially if you're on electric heat. Watch your thermostat as it gets cold. If it all of a sudden kicks onto a little designation that says emergency heat, if you got like a heat pump, okay, you're going to be paying through the nose for your electricity at that point when it goes to emergency heat. This is when you want to bring out your propane or whatever your Mr. Buddy heaters to save the bill. If you've ever had a situation where it's been cold, say a couple of years ago, where it was frigid, we had it here too. We turned on our backup heat source to keep our bills down, because you'll be amazed how fast that emergency heat skyrockets your electric bill. Basically, all you're doing at that point, you're not getting any heat out of the ground, or it's just a heating element. Imagine your hair dryer, you know how it gets orange in the middle? That's all the heat you're getting. It's just electricity trying to keep that element warm and blowing it through. You're using boatloads of electricity. I wanted to give you some ideas because there are a lot of people that aren't used to this weather. Hey, maybe all 10 of those you knew. That's fine, great, okay? Maybe there was 1 or 2 that you didn't. But the idea is to stay safe, to not be dead. It's kind of the whole reason we prep in the first place, okay? And to make sure that, we're not causing more problems than the weather's already doing to us. Stay dry, stay warm, stay safe today, this weekend, next week. It's winter. We just need to know how to handle it. Pinball out.